something else that Dr. Birx said about millennials in general and what we've learned about this disease, because I'll tell you this, it felt like new information to me from what we learned last week. Take a listen.
There are concerning reports coming out of France and Italy about some young people getting seriously ill and very seriously ill in the ICUs. It may have been that the millennial generation, our largest generation, our future generation, that will carry us through for the next multiple decades, there may be disproportional number of infections among that group. And so even if it's a rare occurrence, it may be seen more frequently in that group and be evident now. So we're looking at that information very carefully. We have not seen any significant mortality in the children, but we are concerned about the early reports coming out of Italy and France.
So Dr. Hamlin, I heard that two ways. I heard it, number one, we're still learning more about this virus. We don't know as much as I think sometimes experts made us think we knew about a week or so ago. But the second is it seemed like it was intent on sending a message, a bit of fear to millennials, like, hey, listen up, sober up.
Right. This is a disease that we've often been talking about in terms of mortality. What percentage of people are dying? And among younger adults, young healthy adults, it does seem to be a much lower percentage than among older people. But the number of people who require hospital care and who need some form of supplemental oxygen and might need a bed for a night or 2 nights is not going to be insignificant. It is not a disease that anyone should expect that they can easily ride out without any medical treatment at all. So there's a potential there for people, young healthy people, to be in emergency departments alongside other people who would be extremely high risk if they were contracted.
And Dr. Hamlin, it does seem as if, I saw Dr. Fauci, he did some podcast today, I think he did Barstool Sports, and the point is, it's clear that the government thinks millennials in general are not taking this as seriously as they want folks to take it, not just about their own health, but about how they could be super spreaders.
Well, I've seen also a lot of millennials who are taking it very seriously and who are spreading the message that it's important as a matter of social responsibility that you're not cavalier about this, that even it's not about your own health, it's about the risk of spreading it to someone who's a higher likelihood of passing away. And I think we really don't have a handle on the spread within young healthy adults because we have not been testing, especially there. The diagnostic test we're talking about is mainly deployed for people who have come to the hospital and have a fever and a cough, and there's really high suspicion. And we are not just the people right now who are calling up their doctors and saying, hey, I have a cold, I think. Almost all of them are not being tested.
Dr. Sachs, how blind are we? I mean, because Dr. Hamlin just brought this up, that we don't, because we're not 100% sure how it's impacting younger folks because we actually haven't tested a broad sample of younger folks. It's only been a concentrated sample of younger folks showing symptoms.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think some of the more encouraging news from, for example, Italy, and it's nice to see some encouraging news from Italy, is that they actually have, in one town, tested almost everybody and have been able to identify people who have the infection, have relatively mild cases, are isolated, and then have converted the transmissions to nearly zero. So that kind of program, which we saw previously or ongoing in Korea and China, is what ultimately we need to aim for. What's happening on the ground right now in U.S. hospitals is that we are trying to prepare for a situation where we don't know the true numbers and therefore are expecting things to significantly worsen.
Dr. Hamlin, and this will be a question for you too, Dr. Sachs, is there a way we could, I've been waiting to see if the government was going to essentially say, okay, we're going to do a concentrated amount of testing in 4 regions in this country. We're going to pick them, do random samples in order to get a better grasp on how quickly this virus spreads in different communities, how it infects, how it impacts different people of different age groups. Are we doing that and we just don't see it?
I think right now the tests are being deployed where they're most most needed. So we're using them to effectively administer hospital care in the best possible way, and we don't have the capacity to do the widespread studies that would ideally also be happening at the same
And
time.
those are done, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't mean to interrupt.